in your space, money comes from advertising. I wonder, do we face challenges the same way that entrepreneurs are facing when it comes to getting dollars from corporate?
Well, initially, when I get into a new venture, I finance it. I usually use my money to start, and then as we get into new positions, I may take investment dollars. But like if you look at Branson Cognac, the Chemin Noir champagne, I own the entire company. Like those. That's completely black owned.
Well, I want to talk about that, right? Sire Spirits.
Yeah.
So, all right, Sire Spirits, completely black owned, like you said, liquor company. Talk about that, 'cause I know you had challenges before that, right? So, talk about that whole situation.
Yeah, you have the experience with major corporations, like me, my particular experience with Beam Suntory, it was great in the beginning. It's great for us to work for them. It is not so cool when you start to own things. You see what I'm saying? So I made a lot of money with them too. Like, there's a point, they did a deal that mirrored what Puffy's deal with Diageo was for Ciroc. So he didn't have ownership of that at any point, but he was getting a lot of money, like almost like $60 million a year at one point. So when you see him go to Daily On is when you see him have some issues. And then it gets bad. You know, and these people have really strong relationships. Don't think that the civil case doesn't turn into a criminal case faster because he's making them uncomfortable. That's a big part of it. You know what I mean? Like, you look, when you go to the spirits businesses, it's not governed. They got a discus board that they created, right? You got two companies that are $3 billion a year, and Beam Suntory and Diageo. The distribution level, it's very hard for you to get things to a point where you can do the numbers, the right numbers, the amount. So it's kind of like they incentivize the sales force by giving them box bonuses. And then when you sell a product, you get the bonuses off the boxes that's there. But you make that no matter what product you're selling. So if you sell Hennessy or Remy out the gate, they start to put downward pressure on the new companies. You see, I had a lawsuit with Remy. They said that because I had an oval-shaped bottle, that there was some sort of product confusion, and I'm like, weird. It's a big P in the middle of the fucking bottle. Like, you don't own the shape, the whole shape of the bottle. You know? And then we had went in there for a little while until it came, like, you know, I started saying shit like, 1738, I bet they had slaves. Then shit got uncomfortable, and it was like, look, relax, okay? Can we make donations to existing foundations to make you feel happy? Yeah. It went away, but they do spend $63 million targeting African American male consumers a year.
Yeah, guys, good day to everyone and good morning. Yeah, guys, good day and good morning, everyone, depending on where you are across the world. We did a video on the Diddy situation and his arrest. And in that video, of course, we cautioned especially the black community when we are celebrating and we are making memes about our people and why they are arrested. We need to be slow in making these judgments. It is coming out now that the case, Diddy's case with the police, of course, it's not about the so-called sex trafficking and whatever it is, human trafficking, all the cases which they are accusing him of. And in my previous video, of course, I mentioned that it is very dangerous for a black man to build a business without political power, without political protection, and more especially in the United States, more especially where the whites are, it is very difficult. And I gave you the examples of the Marcus Garvey movement, Honorable Marcus Garvey and his movement. And I gave you examples, of course, of the Tulsa, Oklahoma riots. And all these, they came due to the fact that they were successful. These whites, who is the dominant group right now, regardless of how you look at it, we are living in a European dispensation, right? So, regardless of how you look at it, they are in control of the world right now. We are living in a European dispensation. So, we had a situation in the 16th century where they had control over our bodies, our minds, and our resources, right? And then we fought against them. 1804, Haiti got its independence. Of course, that was us fighting. That was the black people fighting for their rights, to gain back their rights. So we gained back our rights as black people, 1804, starting with Haiti, and then of course that process would escalate all the way to 1945, 1957, and 1964. 1957 with Dr. Kwame Nkrumah getting independence for Ghana, and then other African countries over there started getting independence. By 1963, it was about 5 years, about 5 years, about 6 to 5 years, 5 to 6 years. Many other African countries started getting their independence. So that's 1963. The formation of Organization of African Unity. 1964, the Civil Rights Bill was signed, all right, in the United States. So I bring this to show you how interconnected, how, our struggle as Africans, both on the continent and in the diaspora, is connected. Now, they had this control over our bodies and our resources and our minds and everything. We defeated them during all this period, and now they went into hiding, operating covertly, right? Operating in the dark. Now they operate in the dark, to exert their power, to demonstrate their power of how they control the world. Hence the lies. Of course, that is why you are seeing now the war is psychological, more psychological today, that they use the media and books and all these to manipulate. Now that we liberated our bodies, and our minds to a certain extent, that we have the freedom now to choose all these things, even though of course they still have control over the African continent and its resources. And this is what the diaspora African was fighting for. The diaspora Africans were the ones who were leading the struggle for having Africa independent. And of course, we got that independence. We can talk of people like George Padmore. We can talk of W.E.B. Du Bois. These people, even W.E.B. Du Bois, died in Ghana, for those of you who don't know. And those African Americans or Africans in the diaspora who normally say we are different people, we are not really different people. And I believe that this is a tactic to try to divide the African people so that they can not work together. As I mentioned earlier on, there's a memoranda, there's a document which was published in 1798, in which the United States government was, laying traps and tactics to keep the Africans on the continent and the diaspora divided so that they don't work together, because they saw this as a threat to white domination, internationally, globally. And the fact that they feared that they would work together to sue the United States, to paint the United States as a bad country, before the United Nations. And of course that has to do with racism, because the United States has been leading in racism, even at the bills which are presented before the United States when it comes to racism. The United States votes against anyone who says they want to condemn slavery. So we came through this period, and this is where we are now. But now those tactics which came all the way from slavery to colonialism and the Jim Crow era, those tactics did not go away. Those tactics of sabotaging black enterprises and black people and their progress did not go away. Okay, from Marcus Garvey, to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the destruction of Tulsa, Oklahoma, it is because the black people did not have a political structure, a functional political structure to protect these businesses. Okay, so they can't run anywhere. Now, any black successful business person has to be careful in how they operate in this kind of structure and this kind of political structure internationally, and more so if you are African American, because you are then, if you are in the United States, you are then in belly of the beast. They call it belly of the beast. I think there's a song which Bob Marley did, which is called when he was singing about Marcus Garvey. I've forgotten that song where he spoke about Marcus Garvey and said that Marcus Garvey was in some sort of buffalo soldier, right? Buffalo soldier in the heart of America, right? So he said that this guy was like a buffalo soldier. Honorable Marcus Garvey was like a buffalo soldier. So you can say that the African diaspora or the African American, they are sort of buffalo soldiers, okay, in the heart of America, in the belly of the beast. Basically, that is what it means. Now, this means that you must not cross certain lines. This is basically what it means. And that is what I was trying to point out, that the African diaspora have to realize that the power base which has to be built is supposed to be in Africa. And this is the same thing which Malcolm X actually said, that no black person will be respected anywhere unless Africa is great, unless Africa is in that position. So even though they still control the African continent, but at least on the African continent there is some level of relief. Okay, if a black person or African American comes and starts a business on the African continent, there's at least a minimum level of protection, and that is about politics. So what we are seeing with what is happening with Diddy is actually the same situation that happened with Kanye West. That your wealth, because it is attached to these companies, you work for these companies, it evaporates, just evaporates within a minute. And actually, even themselves, they're realizing it. So the Diddy issue is really not about what many people are saying, that is about molesting women. These people don't care about women. And when it comes to Cassie, which other women have come out? When it comes to Cassie, of course, Cassie, they already settled it. She agreed. This is a woman who was with Diddy for more than 10 years. All right? 10 years. And she was not a slave. All right? She was not a slave. If she was being molested, as bad as they say, this is not to dispute that she was not being molested. She was being molested, maybe, or abused or something like that. But she stayed with the man for over 10 years. And many people know this. All right? So who can stay with someone for 10 years and they're being abused and they continue to stay over there? All right? For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, people can have their own disagreement. But then what we are saying is this. This issue was not about that. The arrest of Diddy is not about the fact that he molested. Who said that a white man cares about black women and how they are being molested? They don't care about black people. So this information now is coming out from 50. What he's saying is that, and of course this is not to dispute that Diddy had his bad behaviors. This is far from it. But we are trying to put this in clear context, that the white man doesn't really care about the black people. And they would not have arrested Diddy for his, abuse of whatever it is, whether it is male or female, because even the black, even the white people do it. They are doing all these things which Diddy is doing. Bill Clinton himself, we mentioned that he abused a woman in the White House and had oral sex with a woman in the White House. No one was able to prosecute him. Why? Even though they brought a lot of issues with him, and it was popular in the media. Okay, and they impeached him. But this he did not go to jail or he did not go anywhere because he owns the power structure. He is part of the power structure. He's part of the political power structure. So this is the same thing which 50 now, of course we know that 50 is Diddy's nemesis. Now, he's bringing it out that his problems is because he disagreed and of course overstepped the power structure. That these people, let me just give you a little background. This company is worth more than $70 billion, right? 73 to be precise. All right. This is a company which is worth more than 73, almost close to $74 billion currently. We are talking about Diageo, which Diddy used to work with. Diddy worked with this company. All right. Now, he worked with them and he made a lot of money for them. All right. He has made a lot of money for them because when he met them in 2007, when they signed the contract, when Diddy signed a contract with Diageo to be a marketer, okay, of their, vodka Ciroc. In 2007, the company was just around $50 billion, right? Okay, so he started helping them to market, and right now the company is $73.92 billion. All right, it increased hugely in value. The company increased hugely in value. Okay, it has expanded, and of course he has contributed because he has been a big black celebrity. He's a big black celebrity in the black community. And 50 said that they dedicate about more than 60, I think 63 or $68 million every year to advertising or taking over the black community to make sure that the black community consumes these vodkas, these alcohols which they are making, these spirits which they are making. Okay, so Diddy helped them during that period, but somewhere along the way, they had a disagreement, and like 50 has said, they want you to work for them, but the problem then comes in when you start owning stuff. They want you to work for them, but when you want to own brands, that is where the problem then comes in. Okay, so, and it's the same situation which happened with Diddy. Diddy happened to start his own brand, okay, within which was packaged by the same Diageo, and this Diron tequila, these guys, they were not marketing it because like 50 Cent said, they don't want you to own anything. All right, they want you to work for them. They don't want competition, and we have seen this even with China. All right, the West doesn't like competition, and it's the same thing with their corporations. These white people, they don't like cooperation. They don't like competition. They don't like cooperating, and they don't like competition. They want you to work for them. Okay, and of course he mentioned that Diddy was making over $60 million every single year, but then he saw that he needed to own, and we saw him is talking about black excellency on parties with all the black celebrities, including Jay-Z. You see, so they felt that he was overstepping, and of course he sued them because they were not marketing his brands. All right, they were sidestepping his brands, and they went to court and they settled it out of court. All right, they withdrew the case in January 2024, this very year, and this is when actually problems started for Diddy, and that is basically what 50 is talking about. That this dispute, which is a civil case, could turn into a criminal case faster. Why? Because he touched the guys with the power. They have connections in higher places. And that is the situation that we are talking about. And that is why we were warning the black people that we need to be careful. We, the black people, you need to be careful when you are commenting about such situations. When you are sort of crucifying your own, you need to go slow. We need to go slow when we are talking about these things, because these guys don't care about, the whites don't care about the black people. They don't at all. They don't care about black people at all. Okay, so whatever the fights, even which you may have amongst yourselves, they would rather encourage those fights. they would rather encourage you to have those fights among yourselves. So they don't care about us. You see? So if they arrested Diddy, it's not because of the crimes he has done, but it's because he's trying to infringe on their power, and he has that star power. And it's the same situation which we saw. It's the same situation which we saw with Kanye West. That when you start touching their power, and their power right now, as we exist in this dispensation, is commercial. All right, and you saw this even with Dr. King, that when Dr. King started talking about marching on Washington with the poor whites and poor blacks, so that they can get their share of the money, whereby he's talking about socialism. These guys are practicing socialism for the rich and capitalism, ragged capitalism for the poor. They had to remove him. They had to take him out. They had to kill him. All right, and we saw that even the civil rights movement, it touched the economic interests. That is where the white man fears the most. So this is actually a tool that we are not using even in this generation. We have a lot of tools that can be used to penalize the white man so that he can stop exploiting the African continent, including economic interests. We can touch his economic interests on the African continent. We can do that, and we can defeat him and expel him from the African continent just by touching the economic interests, by boycotting the particular, brands which are made in the West. They could withdraw from the African continent with just that tool. But that is a tool which we have not used. And it's the same tool which was used during the civil rights movement, that the boycott of buses in Montgomery caused a lot of economic instability. Just boycott by blacks, not boycott by whites. It caused a lot of economic instability within the place. And they saw that this is unacceptable until they gave in to the demands of the black people. So this is a tool that we have to use even in this generation. These are some of the tools that we have not yet touched, which we can touch and boycott these companies, which many of them are existent on the African continent. And there is, of course, alternative platforms. Even when we talk about YouTube, there's actually a black-owned platform which is like YouTube, which is called Black Vision. blackvision.co. I think you can go to blackvision.co.uk. It's a black-owned YouTube platform. All right. So there is a lot of alternatives. Even social media platforms, we have them which are blacks. If you search well enough, I think Dr. Susan, Pan-African Daily TV, she also has a social media platform which is black-owned. We have a lot of them. Even this very media platform or YouTube platform, which is like a YouTube platform, which is Black Vision, they also have a black-owned social media platform. So we could penalize them, these guys. We just started a campaign. We could penalize them and go towards black-owned businesses, and you will see that they will respect us, or they will even dedicate more resources to our communities, and even leave us to operate in our own way. Okay, instead of us always giving in. And you see, like Diddy has been working for them. Now they are throwing him out. Kanye West was working for Adidas. They have thrown him out and embarrassed him and stuff like that. So this is why we were saying that we should be very slow as black people when it comes to attacking our very own. We should look at the bigger picture. We should look at the bigger picture. What is the reason that this man has been out for more than 30 years, 40 years, and he has been doing whatever he has been doing, and these guys have not been arresting him? Of course, there's issues with him, as we have said, and other people even have been saying that Diddy he works for the FBI and all this. But all this working for the FBI doesn't make sense to them. It doesn't count as long as he's touching their economic interest. And they have an integrated system, like we have been explaining. Even when you read Nkrumah's book, Neocolonialism, the Last Stage of Imperialism, these whites, they have an integrated system. The police, the army, and the intelligence agencies, and all these companies, whether is Diageo, which is very present. We could even boycott Diageo in Africa because it is selling, their Malta Guinness in Africa. Okay, we could penalize them on behalf of the African Americans in the United States. We could work together. And that is why it is very important for the African diaspora or the African Americans and whoever to understand the connection that we have, to understand that our destiny, as our ancestors saw, is interlinked. Our destiny is the same. Okay, our hopes and aspirations, they are the same, and our enemy actually is the same, and is European imperialism, is Western imperialism, is the declared enemy of the black people. So it's very important to understand this and to have these facts at hand. The channel is called Connect Africa, and please support us on Rumble. We are present on Rumble, because anytime you have seen that they have started blocking us on their platform, they blocked African Stream. So go out there on Rumble and support us, and of course support us also in the PayPal account, our PayPal account. Kindly support us there, and support us of course with the super chat. Thank you for all of you who are online and are watching and are paying attention to whatever we are saying out there. These are very important topics that we are discussing. So it is important that you pay attention. It is important that you keep watching and supporting the platform, so that the platform can continue to grow, because these are the alternative platforms, which some of which of course are being deplatformed, which are African, and they speak to the real interests of the black people, on the continent and in the diaspora. So I want to thank you very much. My name is Kwame Gonza, and the channel is called Connect Africa and Africa Reimagined. Go out there, support these platforms, and subscribe to the platform. If you are new to the platform, please subscribe and share it with other people, so that they can be aware of what is going on. Now, news is coming out now, even though we spoke about it, and there's some people even who were disputing what we were saying. But now news is coming out in broad daylight for us to understand that this is not about anyone molesting anybody, but it is about economic interests of the white man, and that is what he is fighting for. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. God bless you.